Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here today with our Friday review, my favorite way to recap and cap off the week with you. I've got two great research studies for you today, one on exercise and one on how to ease the digestive bloating, gas, distension, IBS-based symptoms. So excited to share that with you. That's kind of some brand new research that, I think that we've known about in the naturopathy-based field for some time, but it's always great to see it proven out by medical scientific research. We've got our herb of the week, the number one herb for really boosting the immune system in terms of like seasonal flu, etc. So I want to bring you that. It's got a lot of great benefits because it's super high in antioxidants. But let's give you the facts on what it's best used for, and then when I use it in my practice and my family as well. I said this would be coming, but I'll just give you a sneak peek if you're watching here on video. Something that you should be using in your sauna. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube or right at stephencabral.com, the show notes link for everything today is at stephencabral.com/2345. Check that out, 2345. That's today's episode. All the research and all of the product links will be right there. Love being able to bring you all sorts of fun things that I use in my own life every single day and week. All right, we'll also do a podcast recap, but let's get started with our updates for the week. So this week, just after the 4th of July weekend, hopefully you had a great 4th of July, especially if you're celebrating here in the US or anywhere in the world. And what I wanted to share with you is like, for me at least, and a lot of other people, especially if you have kids, it's like, okay, you've got like 6 to 8 weeks before back to school. And then for just people in general, like I have a lot of friends over in Europe. They've got, 6 weeks, 8 weeks or so. It's like their summer, and especially August is their holiday. So it's really a time, I think, to just try to relax, reset, enjoy. We all know that the world's a very strange place right now in terms of economy, in terms of all sorts of politics, in terms of all sorts of health. And we just have to do our best. That's really what we can do, is we can do our best. And I would say at the same time, try to help out, your fellow human as well, right? Like you're trying to help out other individuals. Like if you're in a good spot right now, help out someone else, because maybe one day you won't be in a good spot and you'll hope for some of that reciprocity as well. So that's all I can say is I'm going to try to enjoy myself for the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks or so before we're back with the kids for school. And I've got a really busy fall travel schedule for work planned. And I only have one travel this week coming up for the summer. And can't wait to share that with you. I'm headed out west and actually bringing with me a stack of books. So I'm going to bring about 4 books that I am looking forward to catching up on. Sometimes I read on flights. Very, very rarely anymore do I like watch movies or anything like that on flights. I'm just not that. That's not me. That's not who I am. It's great if that's who you are. But I enjoy reading. I enjoy being able to write on flights, just on my computer, whether they have Wi-Fi or not. And that's it. So I enjoy that time of basically to try to catch back up. So for me, I think 4.5 hour flights or so. And that's a lot of time to be able to read and catch up. All right. Before we get into the show too, I want to let you know, obviously that time of the year for many people, at least, over here in the US, Canada, Western-based Europe, that during summertime, you might be exposed more to mosquitoes or extra sun or ticks, and you may want some more natural-based alternatives. So what I've done over the years, I've done lots of podcasts on mosquito repellents that are all natural, no harmful DEET in them. I've got tick repellent recommendations for both humans and pets, and I have natural sunscreen. All of those are at stephencabral.com/resources. That's my main resources page. Literally everything that I use myself, or for my family, or in my practice, it's all right there. So I've got all sorts of great brands. And again, I'm a big fan of being able to recommend other great brands doing great things. So definitely check those out. All the things that I use, like Herbal Armor and geranium oil and all sorts of things like Badger sunscreen, etc. So definitely check those out. I've got some do-it-yourself podcasts as well on how to make your own sunscreen if you're so inclined to. All right, and then just one more thing I want to let you know. Over the next couple weeks, we will have like I call it my tome on all things hair loss, hair thinning, and regrowth. Some of you, I shouldn't say it, I haven't really told the story too much yet. I will on a future podcast, that I lost like 50% of the hair on the top of my head. And it was like within 6 weeks. It was wild. And I was like, what is going on here? Is there a way that I can change this? And if so, I'm going to do my best. That's it. And luckily I was. And so I had already helped many clients in my practice. And I had already done the research, and I just dove back in and it's like, is there more we can do? Is there anything else? Is there anything more cutting edge? And I wrote I don't usually write a lot of articles. I typically do podcasts, but I wanted this one to be almost like a research based one that you could just refer back to and share it with other people, because some people just like to scan. And I said, great, these are all the things that I do. These are all the things I did. This is what I've used in my practice. And here are the results. So that's coming. Stay tuned. I will announce it on a Friday Review podcast next couple weeks. All right. What's going on over at Equalife? Well, over at Equalife right now, you can get yourself a free bottle of gluten and dairy support on all qualifying orders. That is absolutely by popular demand for summer. A lot of times we're eating a little bit more wheat or gluten or bread or pizza, things like that, as well as cheese and all sorts of ice cream or dairy. You'll definitely be wanting to take one or two of these every time you have those foods because it will help with that bloating, gas, and distension from the gluten and from the different dairy-based sugars as well. So definitely check that out. That's a great one. And also it's great to help with breaking down vegan-based proteins, which are healthier, meaning like than your gluten and dairy, such as your beans or your lentils or your chickpeas, etc. All right, so definitely check that out. Go to StephenCabral.com/shop. Podcast recap for the week. On Monday, we had a fun show, how to master anything with volume-based thinking. This is basically my philosophy over the last 20 years. And it's why I don't feel bad about not being good at something when I first try it. Like that's basically it. So definitely check out that show, and it will really walk you through the steps of looking to master and achieve anything that you're looking for in life, if it means enough to you. On Tuesday's show was the ApoE, right? So a lot of people talking about ApoE4 or 2 or 3. I talk about all those in the podcast and share how a specific blood type leaves you about 9 to 12 times more likely to get Alzheimer's. However, if you know that you're more likely, you also know what you can do to prevent it, and you can. All right. Wednesday's show was the 4 PCOS subtypes. It's brand new research, and I wanted to make sure that, if you're being labeled 1 out of 10 women have PCOS, it might even be 1 out of 5, believe it or not. And what I want you to say is if you hear one of these labels, you'll now understand what it means. Definitely check that out. And then yesterday's show is the real problem, in our world right now. And when we talk about like the truth about nutritional supplements, the truth about whole food diets, I just give you an unbiased look. A lot of research that I did. This was like 40 hours of research and that I personally did. And this is that was titled Overfed Yet Undernourished. So you can check all these out at StephenCabral.com/podcasts. And they are all 2341, 2342, 2343, and 2344, with today's show being episode 2345. All right, let's get into our herb of the week before we get into our fun product review. So herb of the week is going to be none other than elderberry. So I can't do our Friday review. Like every single Friday this year, I said I was going to be reviewing one new herb. So elderberry is essentially a dark purple berry. All right. It's almost black. It's so dark. And when you look at something that's dark purple, you know that it's loaded, first of all, with antioxidants. So those plant-based phytonutrients, anthocyanins, and other types of antioxidants that are amazing for sculpting free radical damage. So there's actually a lot of growing body of research around elderberry. So I'm just going to give you again, I always give you the disclaimer, so I can't provide you any medical advice, any medical treatment plans, any medical-based cures, but you want to look into this. So I'm going to give you the number one reason in just a moment, but elderberry may help fight cancer. 3 studies on it. Elderberry may help fight off bacteria such as H. pylori and issues with the sinuses and bronchitis. A good study on that. May support a certain part of the white blood cells and immune system. It could protect against actual sun damage. Interesting. It also may help with blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. And it may actually have some use as an antidepressant. Okay, so really interesting, right? A lot of great studies going on with this particular nutrient, but it's not how I use it in my practice. All right, so all the things that I just named, I'm typically looking at other ways. Like I just know better ways to help people with sinus issues, bronchitis, H. pylori. UVA radiation, you just want good antioxidants. So I'm a big advocate of like our daily eye support product. And the reason is it's super high in antioxidants. And so it helps with the skin as well because it contains astaxanthin. So anyway, I could kind of go on and on about that, but I'll tell you this, it is best in class. So it's best in class for the flu and flu-like symptoms. All right. So when you're talking about like fever, aches, pains, chills, etc., it's not just being studied, it's already clinically proven. So I'll just give you some of the research right now. So it's been shown to reduce the severity and length of influenza, the flu. And you can do this. Well, let me just give you the research right here because I thought this was pretty amazing. So if you take elderberry, it has been shown to decrease the length of the flu or influenza in basically improvement in 2 to 4 days versus the control group, so a placebo-based group, of 7 to 8 days. So it's shortening that cycle. Let's see, what would the math be on that? Anywhere from 50 to 75%. Yeah, somewhere right around this, 50 to 80%. So that's remarkable. So it works. I'm just going to put it to you that way. It works. But there's another nice study. So that's how I use it for my family, for my 2 daughters, for myself. I'm a fan. I mean, just am. Like that's what I use it for. I've been using it for well over a decade. Now I use it with vitamin D. I use it with alkalizing vitamin C, and I use it with zinc as well. So yes, I do other things besides that, but I do that. So no doubt about it. But here's another one, and this is actually just one way that I take it. So like I'll be getting on a flight soon, not yet, but soon. And it has been shown, so this study was done with air travelers, and they took 300 milligrams of elderberry 3 times a day. Maybe you don't have to take that much, but just giving you what the study said. And they experienced a shorter duration of illness or symptoms if they got sick compared to others. And so that's pretty interesting. So I use a product. Well, I use a lot of different products. Like for my daughters, I'll use a liquid-based product. I've talked about it before, Sambucol. We're trying to develop one that's kind of an all-in-one immune system for kids. But any flavor-based thing, it just takes a long time. It takes us like 8 months to develop a product like that. But for myself, I take these elderberry immuno lozenges. You'll be able to find those at stevencabral.com/shop. But honestly, you can find any good quality elderberry-based product. Just make sure it's potent enough. The one that I use, I take 300 milligrams. That's how I take it. And that's the max that I take. So hopefully that was helpful. Again, elderberry, very powerful herb, absolutely fantastic. Just keep some of these things on hand. So if you do end up getting sick, you can take some elderberry. And again, I can't provide medical advice, but I can tell you it's been clinically studied and proven to work. All right, we've got our fun product review of the week, and it is none other than, everybody's been like, on my Instagram, it was one of my more popular stories of just like me in my sauna. So I have a barrel sauna in Maine. I love being able to spend, some time up here. And anybody who's been to Maine, it's not warm. Like it's not warm in any way, shape, or form, except for about like 6 weeks of the year, from essentially the beginning of July, but even then the nights are high 50s through the end of August. Like that's about it. But even the end of August, it's beautiful weather. It might be 80 degrees during the day and 50 degrees at night. Like there's a huge cool off. So I love being able to get in the sauna when it's 50 degrees out. I mean, it's beautiful. You go in the sauna. I set it, if you've seen mine, I set it to 197 degrees. People always think that it's 197 when I get in there. It's 197 at the top of the sauna, but I'm not sitting with my head against the top of a barrel sauna, which is almost 6 feet tall. So where I sit, it's about 165 to 180 degrees, depending on the ambient outside temperature. Even though I have a big canvas thing over the wood, heat escapes. And so it's not perfect. The hotter the day, the hotter it stays inside. However, I've been reading a lot of research and I've heard about it, but I never was like, I'm not really going to worry too much about it. But then, of course, I was dealing with all the hair loss issues. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do everything I can just to help protect my hair. So I was wrapping my head in a towel, but now I have this amazing sauna hat. So if you're watching this on video, you can see me with my sauna hat on right now. What is this? I'm probably not the best fashion model for a sauna hat, especially with the dress shirt on. But, if you look at this right now, you can see that is a wool sauna hat. They come in all sorts of different traditional styles. You'll find these from Finland. You'll find them from Russia. You'll find them really from all over the world because people have known for a long time. They've been using saunas for thousands of years, especially in Finland. And so what happens is when you go in a high heat sauna, I would say anything above really 130, 140 degrees. And if I do an infrared sauna, I do it for 40 minutes, and that's like 140 degrees. If I do a hot, dry sauna, it's 170, 180 degrees for only like 20 to 30 minutes. But the higher the heat, the more it damages your hair. And so for literally, I think this hat's like $20. It's literally made of wool, or it's made from felt, which is made from wool. And what it does is the reason why it's so big and kind of funny looking is that it traps a pocket of air under the hat as well. It's going to keep your head cool. So what it does that all that heat can damage, dry out, and break and make your hair brittle. So it damages the proteins. Like that's the truth. That's what it does. That's been proven. It's been proven using a hair dryer. I'm going to be doing a whole podcast on this, so I'll definitely share more. But these hats will actually keep your head cool. The other thing they do is it actually allows you, if you're someone that gets dizzy or lightheaded from the heat, it will keep your head cooler. Now you might say, well, I want my body to get hot and sweat. Believe me, you will sweat. So you still sweat. It's just the top of your head will stay cool. I actually feel it a little bit cool now just with this hat on myself. So it allows for breathability, but also keeping the head cool. And if you have longer hair, you can just wrap up your hair and it gives you all of this space to be able to put it right under the hat. So that's why they also make them so big. So this is my official sauna hat from now until eternity. I'll probably purchase a new one once this one gets all sweaty, but you can clean it as well. And I wanted to share that with you. I'm going to link up the exact one I got after that I do the research. I'll link this up, right online as well. I'm sure it'll be some link to some fun company. And you'll be able to find it. But of course, if you ever can't get it in your country, easy. You can just look at exactly what it's made from, the different benefits, and I'm sure you could find one as well that's applicable for you. Inexpensive, and it will save your hair. So, but if not, again, if you can't get a sauna hat, definitely wrap your hair up in a towel, or like I was doing the last few weeks, I just put a towel over my head. All right, so that is that with our product review of the week. Always a fun one. I think I'll keep my hat on for the rest of the episode. And we're going to bring over some new research. So this one I've been holding for a while. It's new research, but I've been holding this for a while. I don't know if I shared it with you. I couldn't find it, so I just want to say, listen, whether you saw it or not, I think this is important because we do a lot of private Facebook groups for different companies and different organizations and different podcasts. We just try to be able to answer people's questions. Like it's my biggest goal in life is to teach and just to share. And so we do all of these things for free, complimentary, because it's what we want to do. Like that's our mission. So I don't know if I share this one, but the reason why I brought that up about the Facebook groups is like the number one thing people want help with is digestive issues. It always seems to be number one. And a lot of it is around abdominal bloating and gas. And so, hopefully you've been listening to the podcast long enough, that we recommend running the gut bundle. You can find that at stephencabral.com/labs. You'll figure out everything that's wrong with your gut. All right, so gut bundles first, then you may need to do the ParaPro support, or you may need to do the CBO protocol and the CBO finisher, maybe, okay? But then some people, it's maybe like 1 out of 100, they may still have symptoms. And that's rare, 1 out of 100. But what else is there left? Well, a lot of it has to do with this poor bowel motility, this long-term anxiety and stress of the mind, so your psychology affecting your physiology through that vagus nerve. So one thing they've found to be helpful, and we, again, as naturopaths, we've known this for a long time. And this is why, again, I love that people, I was there myself. So in my 20s, I want to heal everything. I was an idealist just through food alone. I totally get it. But you have to understand, we were given herbs from nature to be able to use as natural medicine. We've known that. We've known that forever. And literally, you can find all sorts of different, not just mummified bodies, but you can find all sorts of like people that are hundreds of thousands of years old that they found, whether frozen in ice or whatever it might be. And you can see that they literally have herbs on them. Some of them had manuka honey. Some of them had certain mushrooms. Some of them had all sorts of different Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine herbs. So again, use everything. Like that's the thing, is like use everything. Yes, it starts with whole food, but don't dismiss what else we've been given and what else we've created. So this one specifically, again, this is more for like anxiety in the gut, inflammation in the gut, irritable bowel syndrome, and small bowel dysbiosis. So again, use things that we know like the CBO protocol. Again, I can't provide you any medical advice, medical treatment plans, or medical cures, but we know these things work. We've been using them for a long time, tens, hundreds of thousands of people. So 2 herbs though. 2 herbs. I'm going to give you the whole paper. It's not that bad to read. Sometimes I always tell you if like, this is kind of like in the weeds. If you have a background in health, this is a very approachable paper. And so I'm going to link it up for you, the whole paper, 7 pages, and then like it has like 30 something citations. How many citations? No, 54. 54 citations on the benefits of this. So 2 herbs, curcuma longa and Boswellia serrata. So what's curcuma longa and Boswellia serrata? Well, we're really talking about curcuminoids or turmeric. That's really what we're talking about. And we're talking about Boswellia, also known as Indian frankincense, really powerful and potent herbs that have been proven as natural anti-inflammatories and to also calm these gut-based symptoms. And they did some really good research on them. So we use them in our practice for sure. We add a few extras for sure. We use a product called Inflamma Soothe. If you've never heard of Inflamma Soothe or the anti-aging renewal kit that we have, I would definitely check that out. Cell Boost and Inflamma Soothe are the 2 most potent anti-aging based products out there. But check out Inflamma Soothe because there's other items in there that work as synergist and help them work even better. So in addition to this, you could also add some ginger tea, if you ever decided to as well with meals. And I think that can be really helpful. But again, you could purchase curcumin and you could purchase Boswellia any place you'd like. You can also work with, as I always say, with your integrative health practitioner as well. So check that out. Remember, there's always an answer. There really is. So just continue to search. All right. One more research study for the day. This one is a quick one. And is that a lot of women during pregnancy, they often go easier on their exercise, or they sometimes even stop. And what I would share with you is that I don't think that you should do high intensity interval training while pregnant. However, I just want to share with you how important exercise is while pregnant, and everything that you do, your nutrition, your exercise, your movement, your mood, your mind, your cortisol production, they all affect the unborn child. So let me just give you this high-level study. Exercising during pregnancy might stave off diabetes in children later. Recent study. This was done out of the University of Virginia School of Medicine in Charlotte, and it's published in the Journal of Applied Physiology. All right. So female, this is a mice-based study. Yes, I know that we need to bring it towards women, but every study basically is done with mice first. And I think that we can still, because we basically have mice that have the same DNA. So anyway, I digress on that. But female mice that were fed a high-fat diet and exercised during pregnancy were less likely to pass on obesity-linked genes, including diabetes and other metabolic diseases, to their offspring. More research is needed to see if the same is true for humans, but it looks promising. So basically, we need the exercise in order to better metabolize all sorts of different, not just glucose and carbohydrates, but also proteins as well, because proteins can break down and be utilized as glucose in the body whenever there's a shortage of glucose or carbohydrates as well. So really important. I just think exercise is one of the fundamental, I would say fundamental lifestyle factors that could change the world, and we drastically overlook it. Because you can get away with so much more with your nutrition and even sleep and even supplements and all these things if your exercise is where it should be. Not overdoing it, not underdoing it, but actually it helps benefit the immune system and so much more. So definitely something that I think we should all look into, especially as maybe we're kind of planning out our later summer or even fall-based routine. Is like, hey, make this the year, if you haven't already, dedicating yourself 3 to 4 times a week to exercising. Doesn't mean you have to go to a gym, but let's get out there. Let's start moving the body. We can always start with working and then working up to some resistance-based training. Hopefully today's show was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Cabral Concept. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow with our Cabral House Calls. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Steven Cabral. And that's Steven with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of